This video is a brief introduction to the basics of Microsoft Excel. In future videos, we'll go into greater detail about Excel and we'll dig deeply into a couple of features that are of particular interest in the business world. But in this video, I'll show a couple of examples from both the Mac and Windows versions of Excel. Moving forward, I'll emphasize the details of running Excel on the Mac, mainly because that's a really popular platform at Halt, and since there are so many other resources available online for Windows versions of Excel. But along the way, I'll try to mention any major differences, though. So let's get started by identifying the parts of an Excel window. At the very top left is the Quick Access toolbar. It has buttons that you might use to save, undo, or redo actions. At the center top is the file name of this file. On the Mac, you can control-click on the name to get a pop-up menu that shows you the path to the file through the operating system. Click on the topmost folder on that list and you'll be able to see the file in the Finder. On the top right, we have the search field. You'll probably start searches with the keyboard shortcuts though. That would be Command F on the Mac, Control F on Windows. Just below the green strip at the top of the window are a number of ribbon tabs. If you click on one of the ribbon tabs, the ribbon, which is located right beneath, will change to show you appropriate functionality. If you need more space on the screen, you can temporarily hide the ribbon. On Windows, hit Control F1 or double-click on an active ribbon on the tab. On the Mac, single-click on an active ribbon tab, and that will show or hide the ribbon. So here on the Home tab, I'll click once, and that goes away. On Windows, I'll double-click again to go back. On Windows, if everything disappears from the top of the window, try clicking next to the ... on the top of the window if you see one, or next to it, look for a little box with a little arrow in it that says Ribbon Display Options, and that gives you the ability to adjust the way that the ribbon is displayed. I'm sorry if this doesn't entirely show up on the ribbon. So, continuing on our journey, let's talk about the name box. I'm going to click Home. This box shows the address of the current cell. So here I am in B1. If I go to G11, it'll show G11. You can also assign plain language names to cells or ranges of cells to make your formulas easier for humans to understand. So suppose we want to do a little bit of financial math, and we say that B4 is going to contain our profit, and that we have a profit margin, and we have sales. So we could give this cell a name of profit margin, no space. We could give this cell a name of sales, and we could give this cell a name of profit. So we could say that, the profit margin is 0.05, the sales are 100, and the profit could be equal to sales times profit margin. So when we are in any of these cells, notice that the actual name that we gave to the cell shows up in the name cell, profit margin, sales, profit, and that the formula itself has substituted the cell addresses B2 and B3 with the names that we allocated to the cells. So let's look a little bit further to the right and consider insert icons. If we're over here in a cell and we enter 23, we could say, oops, no, never mind. Or we could say, yes, I want 23. Or we could say, forget that, I want to put in a formula. And this italic f of x shows you the options in the formula builder over on the right bar. And as you can see, there are hundreds and hundreds of different built-in formulas in Excel, many of which you will never need to deal with. But it's good to know that they're there. This region, this is a pretty important part of the screen. It will mimic any formula that you're entering into a cell, and it will be helpful when you create complex formulas that need debugging. So let's consider cells, rows, and columns. First, a cell is one of these boxes. A cell is in one row, and it can be in usually one column, but sometimes they span columns. Cell addresses are, unlike the normal method in linear algebra form, column then row. For example, A1, B52. A cell can contain text, a number, or a formula. You can insert or delete a row or column by right-clicking on the row or column heading. The A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the left are the column and row headings. If I want to say whatever is in this column I'd like to delete, I can right-click and delete, and everything will go away. Let's look down at the bottom. An Excel file represents a workbook. A workbook consists of one or more worksheets. The sheet tabs at the bottom of the screen allow you to shift from one sheet to another. You can also add or delete sheets. You can refer to information on one sheet from another sheet. Sheets are handy for organizing your data. So on complex data collection applications, you can use multiple sheets. Finally, note that you can view a worksheet in either normal or page layout. I'm going to go to View Page Layout. And what it does is it shows you what would happen if you printed out this worksheet. And it is great if you're planning on printing out the worksheet, but generally you want to stay with normal. At the bottom of the screen is a status bar. It displays information of interest depending upon what you're doing. One of the most common uses of this bar is to view statistics when you select a range of cells. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4 and then select all 4 of those cells, I see down here that the average of those 4 numbers is 2.5. There are 4 of them that I'm averaging, and that the sum of them is 10. In this video, I think there's one last thing I'd like to point out, and that is the zoom bar. The zoom bar allows you to get in up close and personal, or zoom out and see the big picture. There are a couple of options for you here that will allow you to select the kind of view that you want on the worksheet, and those are helpful for you. So I'm going to click over here and go back to 100% where we started, and I'm going to click away the formula builder.